You know that feeling, right? That invisible weight on your shoulders that just never seems to go away. That little voice in the back of your head constantly whispering, "You should have done that differently." Or, "This is all your fault." Or even worse, "You don't deserve to be happy." If any of that sounds familiar, you've probably been living with guilt as a constant companion. It's that sneaky thing that can turn even your biggest wins into something that feels heavy. It's kind of like imagining a prisoner who's been in a cell with an open door for years. He never leaves. Why? Because he genuinely believes he deserves to be in there. He thinks the chains holding him are made of steel, but if he just looked closer, he'd see they're made of paper. He could tear them apart at any moment, but he doesn't. That's exactly what guilt does to us. It's a prison we build for ourselves, but here's the secret. We're holding the keys the whole time. So, let's talk about what some incredibly smart people thinkers like Seneca, Nietzsche, and Sartre figured out about guilt that most of us never learn. And more importantly, I want you to walk away from this conversation with a real, practical way to turn that feeling into actual growth. If you're tired of being a hostage to that feeling, let's dive in. This is where things start to change. First off, let's get one thing straight about what guilt really is. Your brain isn't trying to torture you. It actually created guilt to protect you. Way back in the day, feeling guilty for breaking a rule of the tribe was a survival mechanism. If you messed up and felt bad about it, you were more likely to fix your behavior and not get kicked out of the group, which basically meant survival. The only problem is, our brains are still running on that ancient software. So today, that same internal alarm system that was designed to save you from a lion now goes off when you eat a donut on your diet, or when you think you said the wrong thing in a text message. It treats a small social mistake like a life or death threat. And what's the result? We end up constantly punishing ourselves for crimes that don't even exist outside of our own heads. The thing about this toxic guilt is that it's always stuck in the past, which we can't change. It makes you feel like you are the problem, not just your action, and it paralyzes you instead of helping you move forward. It's the difference between saying, "I did something bad," which is remorse, and "I am bad," which is guilt. But if the great philosophers could hack this system, so can we. And we can start with a really cool tool from the Stoics. Seneca, a guy who advised the Roman emperor, was making decisions that affected millions of people. Talk about pressure. If anyone had a reason to be crushed by guilt, it was him. So he came up with a mental model that changes everything. He called it the dichotomy of control. Think of it like this. Your life is split into two circles. In the inner circle is everything you actually control. Your intentions, your choices right now, your actions. In the outer circle is, well, everything else. How people react, what happens as a result, the final outcome. Guilt almost always comes from taking responsibility for things in that outer circle. Let me give you an example. Say you send a nice message to a friend who's feeling down, but they take it the wrong way and get even more upset. The guilt trap says, "It's my fault. I'm so insensitive. I always mess things up." But the Stoic way of looking at it is different. It says, "My intention was good, and I chose my words carefully." That's my inner circle. How they interpreted it is in their circle, the outer circle. I can't control that. I can learn from it for next time, sure, but beating myself up over something I don't control is just a waste of energy. Try it with something you feel guilty about. What part was actually up to you, and what part wasn't? You'll be surprised how much weight you can let go of just by seeing that distinction. Okay, you might be thinking, but what about when I really did mess up on purpose? That's a fair question. And for that, we need to bring in Nietzsche. Nietzsche had this idea that sounds a little scary at first, but it's incredibly freeing. He said you can move beyond good and evil. He didn't mean that there's no right or wrong, but that you can move beyond the paralyzing judgment of it all. You can use your mistakes as the raw material to build a better version of yourself. That it's a three-step process. Really, just state the facts, no drama. I betrayed someone's trust, that hurt them, period. No, I'm a terrible person, story attached. Ask what it teaches you. What does this mistake show me about who I am and who I want to be? Maybe it shows you a pattern you need to change, or that you need to get better at communicating. Use it to create. Okay, knowing this now, what would the person I want to be do today? Guilt keeps you chained to the person you were. This way of thinking pushes you to become the person you could be, and that leads to an even bigger, more radical idea from a philosopher named Jean-Paul Sartre. He lived through World War II as a prisoner of war, and he came to a wild conclusion. You are condemned to be free. What he meant is that in every single moment, you are choosing who you are. Your past doesn't define you. Your present choices do. Guilt can only survive if you believe that the you who made a mistake 5 years ago is the exact same you sitting here today. It's not. Imagine you spent years being selfish. The old guilt story is, you're a selfish person. That's just who you are. Sartre would say, no, you are selfish. In this exact moment, you have the freedom to choose to be generous. Your past informs you, but it doesn't chain you. Blaming your past for your present actions? Sartre called that bad faith. It's basically denying your own freedom. So, what about the other person? If we're so free, does that mean we can just ignore the people we've hurt? Absolutely not. And this is where another thinker, Emmanuel Levinas, comes in. He survived the Holocaust and made a powerful distinction between the guilt that paralyzes you and the responsibility that moves you to act. Think about it. Neurotic guilt is all about you. Oh, I feel so terrible. I'm such a monster. I hate myself. It's a whirlpool of self-pity that doesn't help anyone. Ethical responsibility, on the other hand, is all about the other person. It asks, my choice caused real pain. What can I do now to help, to repair, and to make sure it never happens again? So the next time you feel guilty, try shifting your focus. Stop thinking about how bad you feel and start thinking about what the other person might need. That's how you turn that energy into something constructive. Let's try to put all of this together in a simple tool you can use anytime. Just draw 3 circles. Circle 1 is what happened. Just the plain, boring facts. I said I was busy when my son wanted to talk. He went to his room looking sad. Not, I'm a horrible father. Circle 2 is the story I'm telling myself. This is where you dump all those judgments. I'm selfish. I'm ruining my kid. I don't deserve this. Just get them out and see them for what they are. Stories, not facts. Circle 3 is what I can do now. Based only on the facts from Circle 1, what are your options? I can go talk to him after my meeting. I can explain I was on a deadline, but that he's important to me. I can set aside time tomorrow just for us. The magic here is realizing that. Circle 2, all that self-judgment, has absolutely nothing to do with Circle 3. You can still be a good, responsible person, even while your brain is telling you that you're the worst. But what about the really tough stuff? The guilt that feels irreversible? The apology you never got to make to someone who's gone, or the opportunity that's lost forever. Here's the hard truth. You can't change the past, but you can decide what that past means for your future. You can transform irreversible pain into irreversible wisdom. That mistake that you can't fix gave you a unique kind of knowledge. You know exactly how that pain feels. You know how to avoid it. Don't let that wisdom go to waste by just punishing yourself. Use it. Use it to help someone else avoid the same mistake. Use it to have more compassion for others. The best way to honor a mistake you can't fix is to live out the lesson it taught you. Look, you probably came here feeling like you were forced to carry this backpack full of rocks forever. What I hope you're starting to see is that the backpack was never a part of you. You can choose to set it down. The world doesn't need more people who are experts at beating themselves up. It needs people who have learned how to turn their mistakes into wisdom and their pain into compassion. Your transformed guilt could be the very thing that helps someone else find their way out of the dark. This is what philosophy is for. It's not about old books. It's a toolkit for life. Remember, you don't have to carry the weight of your entire past. You only have to carry the weight of your choice in this present moment. And you've always been strong enough to do that. This whole journey from guilt to freedom isn't about reaching some perfect destination. It's about changing the way you travel. Welcome to your new way of being.